They will come back crawling to you when you do this. Mark my words, that person who thought they could play you, who left you hanging, who acted like they didn't need you, they're going to regret it deeply, but only if you make one powerful move. One move that flips everything upside down. So what is it? You stop playing their game. You stop chasing, stop bending, stop breaking your back for someone who never deserved that version of you in the first place. Trust me, the moment you take your power back, they'll feel the absence like a punch to the gut. Look, right now, they think they have you wrapped around their finger. They think you're just waiting on the sidelines, hoping, praying that they'll see your worth and come running back to you. But here's the harsh truth. They already know your worth. They've known it from the start, but they're pretending, stringing you along, keeping you in their back pocket as their safety net, and you're letting them. How does that feel to know they've been playing you like a fool? Knowing you're out here thinking you're just waiting for the right time, when in reality, they're banking on you never waking up and realizing your own power. But here's the good news. You're about to change the game. No more playing by their rules. The second you stop feeding their ego, the second you stop chasing after their breadcrumbs, they're going to feel it, and it's going to hurt. It's going to hit them hard when they realize you've pulled the rug from underneath their feet. Here's what you need to understand. The more you chase, the less they value you. You're giving them control, letting them believe they can come and go as they please while you're left feeling powerless. But when you stop, when you pull back and start investing all that energy into yourself, everything changes. They'll feel your absence like a black hole sucking them into regret and second-guessing every move they made. You hold the power now. See, it's not about the texts you send, the words you say, or the things you do to try and win them back. No, it's about what you do when you're not there. It's about what you do when they can't feel your presence anymore. That's when they'll start to notice. That's when the doubt sets in. Why aren't you calling? Why aren't you texting? Did they screw up? Did they lose you for good? That's the fear that's going to keep them up at night. And when they realize they can't manipulate your emotions anymore, when they understand you're no longer the puppet they control, they'll come running back to you. But here's the kicker. By then, you won't be chasing their validation. You won't need it. You'll be so deep in your own growth, your own journey, that they'll be the ones trying to prove themselves to you. Think about that. The person who thought they could walk all over you, the one who thought you'd always be there no matter what. Now they're the ones scrambling to get your attention. That's what happens when you take your power back. That's what happens when you stop chasing after someone who's been treating you like an afterthought. Because let me tell you this, the moment you stop caring so much about what they think, they'll start to care a whole lot about what you think. The tables will turn, and you'll be the one in control. And here's the wild part. They'll come back, and they'll come back hard. They'll show up in ways you never thought possible, because they'll be terrified of losing you for good. But by that point, you'll have grown into someone who doesn't even need them anymore. You'll have reclaimed your life. You'll be walking in your own power. And trust me, that's magnetic. That's what draws people in. It's not the chasing, the begging, or the hoping. It's your confidence, your self-assuredness, your ability to stand on your own without needing them to validate your worth. So let me ask you, are you ready to make them crawl back to you? Are you ready to flip the script so hard they don't even know what hit them? Because if you are, here's what you need to do. Stop chasing. Stop giving away your power. Start focusing on you, your growth, your confidence, your life. Let them feel the emptiness when you're no longer there to fill their ego. This is where Stoicism comes into play. Stoicism teaches us that true strength doesn't come from controlling others. It comes from mastering ourselves. It's about recognizing that you can't control what they do, but you can control how you react. And when you react by pulling back, by focusing inward, by elevating your own self-worth, that's when you become unstoppable. You want them to regret leaving? You want them to crawl back to you? Then you need to become the person they regret losing, not by words, not by chasing, but by action. By becoming so focused on your own growth that they have no choice but to look at you in awe. And here's the best part. When they do come back, and they will, you'll have the choice. You decide whether they're worth your time. You'll be the one in control, not them. And believe me, by the time you're done transforming, they'll realize they were never in control in the first place. So if you're ready to take back your power, if you're ready to stop chasing and start becoming, drop a comment below with the words, "I'm done chasing." Let's show them. Let's make them feel the weight of their mistake, and let's make sure that when they come crawling back, it'll be on your terms. If you're ready to stop being an afterthought and start commanding the respect and attention you deserve, then this is just the beginning. Subscribe now, because here, we're not just about surviving relationships. We're about mastering them. You hold the power, and with every video, you'll learn how to reclaim it. Don't miss out on the tools, the mindset, and the strategies that will have them crawling back to you. Hit that subscribe button and step into the version of yourself they'll never forget. This is your journey to control. Let's walk it together. Number 1, craft a new identity. Crafting a new identity is the cornerstone of making them come back crawling to you. This isn't about pretending to be someone else. It's about stepping into a version of yourself that they never saw coming. The version of you that they never expected. Someone so confident, empowered, and untouchable that they'll regret the day they let you slip away. You see, people fall for patterns. They think they know who you are, how you think, and what you'll do next. But when you craft a new identity, you shatter those expectations and force them to see you in a whole new light. Imagine you're a book. They think they've read cover to cover. They believe they know every page, every chapter, and every plot twist. But suddenly, they pick up the book again and realize there are chapters they never knew existed. That's what crafting a new identity does. It disrupts their narrative of you. The person they once thought they could predict, control, or take for granted is gone, replaced by someone far more intriguing. And let me tell you, that's where your power lies. So if you're ready to take this step, I need you to embrace it fully. Don't half-step it. Don't dip your toes in the water. Jump in with both feet. Craft a new identity that makes them question everything they thought they knew about you. Become so unshakable, so confident, that they can't help but come crawling back, desperate to figure out how they lost you in the first place. This is just the first step. We're only just beginning. You can't expect to move the needle with just one step, so kill those thoughts of clicking away. Stay with me, because we're going to keep building step by step until you've completely transformed into someone they can't ignore, someone worth chasing. Accept the challenge, commit to the process, and become the person they regret losing. If you're with me, if you're ready to step into your new identity, drop a comment below with the affirmation, "I'm becoming the person they'll regret losing." Let me know you're ready to craft this new version of yourself. Stay with me till the end. We've only just begun this journey, and together, we're going to transform your life. Number 2, change your energy field. Changing your energy field is one of the most powerful moves you can make to shift the entire dynamic in your favor. It's not just about pulling back or being silent. It's about completely altering the emotional energy you project into the world, especially toward that person who took you for granted. When you change your energy field, you shift from a state of neediness, desperation, or longing to a place of calm, centered power. This is where the real magic happens. People are drawn to strength, mystery, and independence. The moment you stop needing someone's validation to feel whole is the moment they begin to crave your attention. It's a universal law. When you stop chasing, they start chasing you. This isn't just theory, it's how human psychology works, and it's rooted deeply in Stoic philosophy. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, said, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." That's the essence of changing your energy field. You may not be able to control what they do, whether they pulled away, lost interest, or are playing games with your heart, but you can control how you respond. And that response doesn't have to be reactive, emotional, or weak. It can be strong, deliberate, and transformational. When you change your energy field, you shift from external validation to internal mastery. You become untouchable, and that shift will make them come crawling back, wondering what happened to the person they thought they had figured out. So, how does this work? Think of your energy as a radio frequency. Right now, if you're feeling anxious or desperate for their attention, you're broadcasting that on a subconscious level. They can feel it, even if you're not saying it out loud. That's why they pull back. They sense that neediness, and it repels them. But the moment you change your energy, when you stop broadcasting need and start radiating confidence and independence, everything changes. It's like switching to a different station, one they can't tune into anymore, and it drives them crazy. Now they want to figure out where you went, why you're not on their wavelength anymore, and that's what pulls them back toward you. Let's make this even clearer with a relationship example. Imagine you've been in a situation where someone you care about starts pulling away. They're less responsive, less attentive, and you start feeling that panic rising inside of you. Every instinct tells you to do more. Text them, call them, ask them what's wrong. But that's the old energy field. That's the energy of trying to get something from them, and it only pushes them further away. Now imagine if instead you shifted your energy. You stop chasing, you stop needing them to validate you, and you begin focusing on yourself. You start living your life for you, pouring your energy into your growth, your goals, and your happiness. Suddenly, without saying a word, your entire energy shifts. You're no longer the one trying to get something from them. You're radiating confidence, self-worth, and peace. Do you know what happens? They feel it. They sense that shift, and it makes them wonder. Now they're the ones feeling insecure. They're the ones thinking about you, wondering why they aren't the center of your attention anymore. What if it feels difficult to change your energy field? That's normal. It's hard to shift from a place of emotional attachment and longing to a place of inner strength. But here's the key. It's all about practice. Every time you feel that urge to reach out, to check in, or to cling to the past, remind yourself that your power comes from within. Like the Stoics taught, you are in control of your reactions, not anyone else. Every moment you resist the temptation to fall back into old patterns, you're strengthening your new energy field. It's like exercising a muscle. The more you do it, the stronger it gets. A great metaphor for this is a magnet. When a magnet loses its charge, it can't attract anything. It's just a piece of metal. But when it's charged with energy, it pulls everything to it effortlessly. That's you right now. If you're running on empty, desperate for someone else to fill you up, you've lost your magnetic charge. But when you shift your energy, when you start fueling yourself from within, you become magnetic again. You won't have to chase anyone. They'll feel your energy shift, and they'll be drawn to you like a magnet because they can sense the power and confidence radiating from you. This step, changing your energy field, is the foundation of everything, but it's not a quick fix. It's a transformation, and you have to be committed to this change. If you're serious about making them come crawling back to you, you need to embrace this fully. It's not just about one step. It's about an entire shift in how you show up in the world, in how you carry yourself, and in how you handle your emotions. This is just the beginning, but it's the most crucial part. If you change your energy, everything else follows. But let me be clear. You can't move the needle with this step only. Changing your energy field is powerful, but it's only the start. If you want real results, if you want them to truly feel the absence of your presence and come crawling back, you have to stick with me through every step of this journey. Kill those thoughts of clicking away, because this isn't a magic trick. This is a transformation, and you're either all in or you're not. To transform your entire life, to become the person they can't stop thinking about, to be the one worth chasing, you need to take on this challenge fully. You need to commit to these steps one by one, without holding back. Drop a comment below with the affirmation, "I am stepping into my power," to show me you're serious, that you're here for the long haul. This is just the start, the first step in a bigger journey. But if you truly embrace it, I guarantee you they'll feel the shift, and they will come crawling back. So, let's get started. Stay with me, and together we'll change everything. Number 3. Invoke the scarcity principle in reverse. When we talk about invoking the scarcity principle in reverse, we're stepping into the realm of power and control in relationships. The scarcity principle usually means that the less available something is, the more we value it. Now, imagine turning that around, but instead of using scarcity to chase them, you create scarcity around yourself. You make you the rare and valuable prize that they begin to crave. This isn't about playing petty mind games. It's about a shift in your behavior and energy that forces them to recognize that they are missing out on something unique and irreplaceable. You. In the context of a relationship, when you're always available, always there to pick up the phone, to show up, or to give attention, you become predictable. You become a given in their life. Something they expect will always be there. And here's the truth. We never value what is always accessible. That's why you need to pull back. Make yourself rare. You have to create a sense of loss before they even realize what's happening. When you stop being readily available, when you no longer fill every gap in their life, that's when they start to feel it. The scarcity principle in reverse isn't about vanishing completely, but about mastering how to show up less and in more powerful, strategic ways. It's not easy, I get it. When you've been used to chasing or being emotionally available, pulling back can feel uncomfortable. But remember what Marcus Aurelius said. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Your strength doesn't come from how much you can give to someone else, but from how much you can hold back and let them come to you. You're not losing them by stepping back. You're forcing them to question what they're losing by not having you as a constant in their life. Let's look at this in a relationship context. Say you've been in a situation where you're always initiating contact, texting first, calling, making plans. You're doing the emotional heavy lifting. But what happens when you suddenly stop? When you don't initiate, that gap, that sudden absence of attention, will hit them hard. They'll wonder where you went, why the dynamic has shifted, and they'll start missing the attention they once took for granted. This creates a psychological loop where they begin to seek out the very thing they once felt indifferent about. Think of it like water in the desert. When you're always there, you're like water in an ocean, plenty of it, no urgency. But when you become scarce, you're the last drop in the desert, something they now have to work for, something that's worth everything to them. You have to make them realize that your attention is a luxury, not a given. If you're finding this difficult, if it feels uncomfortable or unnatural, that's normal. It's hard to break old patterns, especially when you've been conditioned to think that more is better. But trust me, the discomfort is worth it. It's through scarcity that you reclaim your power. When you're not readily available, you become mysterious, and mystery breeds attraction. They will come back, and they'll come back crawling when they realize the void you've created by pulling back. Now, I want you to really let this sink in. This isn't about cutting them off completely. It's about strategic distance. It's about knowing your value and making them work to experience it. This is the first step to transforming not only your relationship, but also the way you see yourself. You are the prize, and if they don't see that yet, they will, but only if you take this step seriously. Number 4, challenge their ego. Challenging someone's ego is one of the most powerful moves you can make in reclaiming your power and flipping the dynamic in your favor. The ego thrives on control, validation, and feeling superior. By subtly challenging their ego, you are shaking the foundation they've built around your relationship, making them question their own significance. When you remove the power they believe they have over you, it creates a void they feel compelled to fill. This psychological shift is key to making them come back crawling. What does it mean to challenge their ego? It's not about direct confrontation or making them feel small. It's about subtly withdrawing the validation they've grown to expect from you. Their ego is built on the idea that you'll always be there, that you'll always seek their approval, and that they hold control over your emotions. By taking that away, you're forcing them to face a reality where they're no longer the center of your world. This shakes their confidence and sparks a desire to reassert their importance in your life. As Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." In this case, the reaction they expect is for you to continue chasing. But when you don't, it throws them off balance. This tactic is incredibly useful because it taps directly into their need for validation. People with big egos expect to be catered to. They thrive on admiration and attention. When that attention is removed, it causes a psychological shift. They begin to question their own value and, more importantly, why you aren't playing into their game anymore. By challenging their ego, you become the unsolved problem they need to fix. Suddenly, they feel compelled to re-earn the place in your life they once took for granted. Let's take an example in a relationship. Imagine someone you've been with has always assumed that no matter what they do, whether they pull away emotionally, take you for granted, or neglect your needs, you'll always be there. They've gotten comfortable because they believe their presence in your life is secure. Now, instead of reacting the way they expect, chasing after them, seeking validation, asking for attention, you go silent. You focus on your own life. You don't get upset when they ignore you. You don't ask why they're pulling away. That shift in behavior sends a loud and clear message. You no longer depend on their approval. This hits their ego hard. They start to wonder, Why aren't you chasing them? Did they lose their grip on you? They'll begin seeking your attention because their ego can't handle the idea of not being in control anymore. Challenging someone's ego can feel difficult, especially if you're used to seeking their validation. It might feel uncomfortable at first to not give in to the urge to explain yourself or react to their behavior. But remember, the discomfort you feel is temporary, and it's a necessary step toward reclaiming your emotional power. The Stoics teach us to embrace discomfort as part of personal growth. As Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." What feels difficult now is exactly what will free you. Think of it like this. Their ego is a castle they've built, towering and seemingly impenetrable. But when you stop giving it attention, when you stop laying bricks for them by seeking approval, you're quietly dismantling that castle, brick by brick. Eventually, they'll be standing in the ruins of their own ego, realizing that without your validation, they have nothing left to stand on. That's when they'll come crawling back, desperate to rebuild what they've lost. So here's what you need to do. Embrace this step with confidence. Stop feeding their ego. Stop giving them the validation they've come to expect. Take back your power by showing them that their presence in your life is not a given. You have the control, and the moment you challenge their ego, you're planting the seed of doubt in their mind. That doubt will grow, and it will pull them back to you, hungry for the validation they once took for granted. Embrace the discomfort, embrace the silence, and watch as they come crawling back, realizing they never had the upper hand. Number 5, make unpredictability your signature move. To truly make them come back crawling, you must become unpredictable. Unpredictability, when used wisely, becomes a powerful tool in relationships, and it must become your signature move. Why? Because humans are wired to crave certainty, routine, and comfort. The moment someone becomes predictable, the spark begins to fade. Predictability is dull, and dullness kills attraction. However, when you introduce a sense of unpredictability into your life, you become a puzzle, something they can't easily solve, and something that keeps pulling them back over and over again. As the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, "Loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight." In relationships, unpredictability represents that very change. It shifts the dynamic, keeps them on their toes, and forces them to constantly reconsider where they stand with you. This keeps them engaged, intrigued, and ultimately drawn back to you. People want what they can't easily grasp, and when you stop being predictable, you become that rare, mysterious figure they just can't pin down. Now, how do you make unpredictability your signature move? It's not about playing mind games or manipulating emotions. It's about shifting your energy in ways that they don't expect. One day, you're engaging, and the next, you're calm and distant, not out of spite, but out of control and mastery over your emotions. One week, you're available, and the next, you're fully invested in yourself, your projects, and your life. This inconsistency becomes intoxicating because they never know what version of you they're going to get, and that unpredictability makes them crave more. Think about it in a relationship where you've always been predictable, always chasing, always the one reaching out. They've grown accustomed to your behavior. But what happens when you suddenly shift? When you stop chasing, stop giving them the same responses, and start focusing on your personal growth? It throws them off balance. They're left wondering, what happened? What changed? Did I lose them? That uncertainty will drive them crazy, forcing them to come back crawling. desperate to understand where they went wrong. For example, imagine you've been in a situation where you've always been the one to text first, always available, always trying to fix things. They've grown used to it. They expect it. Now, what happens when you stop? When suddenly you're no longer the one initiating, and instead you're the one living your life without them at the center. They're going to notice that shift immediately, and it's going to eat at them. They'll start to realize that they no longer have control over you, and that's when they'll start coming back, trying to figure out how to regain what they've lost. If it feels difficult to be unpredictable, especially if you're used to being consistent and reliable, remember that this is not about abandoning your true self. It's about evolving. You can still be kind, caring, and authentic, but you're showing a new version of yourself, one that doesn't bend to their expectations. If you find yourself struggling to make this shift, remind yourself of the bigger picture. You are reclaiming your power. You're not doing this to punish them, but to elevate yourself. They need to feel the distance, the mystery, the change, and that's what makes them realize what they've lost. Metaphorically, think of yourself as the wind. The wind is never static. It can be soft and gentle one moment, then strong and forceful the next. It moves, it changes direction, and no one can predict its next move. Be like the wind, flowing and adaptable, never letting them know exactly where you stand. This fluidity keeps them intrigued, wanting more, and desperate to keep up. Now is the time to fully embrace this step. It's not just a tactic, it's a transformation. Make unpredictability your signature move, because that's how you regain control over your relationships and your life. The moment you stop being the predictable, easy option, you become something they need to work for, something they desperately crave. Remember, they will come back crawling when they realize you're no longer the person they thought they had figured out. You are the wind. You are unstoppable. Now make them feel it. Number 6. Activate their fear of missing out. Activating their fear of missing out, FOMO, is about making them realize that life without you is a life they can no longer take for granted. People naturally crave what they don't have, and when you pull back just enough, when you stop being so available, they will start to feel the void. Suddenly, they're left wondering what's going on in your world, what they're missing out on, and who's now occupying the space they once held. This fear will slowly gnaw at them, pulling them toward you like a magnet, desperate to reclaim the attention and connection they once had. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." When you embody this, you shift your focus from obsessing over them to investing in yourself. You become the prize they fear losing. This isn't about playing games. It's about controlling your own narrative and creating space for them to see your worth. The more you invest in your own growth, the more they'll feel like they're missing out on something precious, something that is slipping through their fingers. Here's how you do it. Live your life fully and unapologetically, but don't overshare. Let them see just enough to trigger their curiosity, but leave gaps in the story. Whether it's through social media or mutual friends, let them catch glimpses of your evolving world, your new passions, your self-discovery, your inner peace, and your relationships. When someone feels distant, we often overcompensate by chasing. Don't. Instead, create an air of mystery and watch them come back craving what they once took for granted. It may feel difficult at first, especially when emotions are raw. But remember, fear is a powerful motivator. Think of it like a beautiful house you're building brick by brick. Once it's finished, they'll be standing outside, realizing they no longer have the keys. Embrace this step fully. You hold the power now. Let them feel your absence. Let them fear losing you. And when they come crawling back, they'll realize the truth. You were never the one who needed them. They needed you. Number 7. Master emotional ambiguity. Mastering emotional ambiguity is like becoming a riddle they can't solve. In relationships, when emotions are too predictable, when they know exactly how you feel and exactly what you're going to do, it makes you too easy to understand and too easy to take for granted. But when your emotions become unpredictable, when you're not always giving them a clear answer, they will constantly be seeking clarity, drawn into your emotional world like a moth to a flame. This isn't about playing with their feelings or being manipulative. It's about mastering your own emotions and not letting them dictate your behavior. When you give them the full, predictable picture, you're setting the stage for complacency. But when you're emotionally ambiguous, when you're not always wearing your heart on your sleeve, you're forcing them to stay engaged and invest more effort into understanding you. Imagine you're always giving them a clear answer, always telling them how you feel. Eventually, they'll stop appreciating it because they know what to expect. But when you add layers of emotional complexity, when you're not constantly available or predictable, you're becoming a puzzle that they can't easily solve. It forces them to think about you more, to wonder where they stand with you, and to work harder to connect with you. Mastering emotional ambiguity also means not chasing validation. When they know they can always come to you for emotional reassurance, they stop valuing it. But when you master your own emotional world and don't need their validation to feel complete, it shifts the dynamic. The ambiguity comes from how you respond, not always giving them the answers they want. Sometimes you're warm and engaging. Other times you're distant. You're not playing games, but you're creating emotional depth. This emotional ambiguity will make them feel like they're on a never-ending journey to understand you, and in the process, they'll find themselves coming back, trying to piece together the puzzle you've become. This emotional unpredictability, when done right, will draw them in like nothing else. They'll crave the clarity they've lost and come back crawling, desperate for the emotional connection they once had, but now can't quite grasp.